All right, everyone. Let's make sure sound is working. Okay, I think we're ready. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. This is by far my most favorite episode of the podcast every year. This year I'm doing it solo. Normally Austin and I would dive into this, but that's okay. I'm really excited to, look at the new gear, and there's some skis that I'm really excited about. And then I even got to try a pair of the Bent Decodes, so I'll get into that too. But let me know how the sound sounds, and welcome to Between Two Slopes. So let's dive in. Let me share my screen. Boom. It might make me a little smaller. Yeah. There we go. Let me know how that looks on your guys' side, but looks good over here. So we're starting off with Armada skis. Now, I'm a little sad that we're starting with Armada skis because I feel like by far they just, everything they're coming out with this year is just super cool. So we'll get into it, but sometimes it's like save the best for last. Today we're diving into what I feel is the best for the upcoming season. So first off, the White Walker is getting a line up this year, which is really cool. So you can see new White Walker 108. It's a slimmed down version of Sammy Carlson's signature White Walker 116. And I really like this idea because I tried the White Walker. I think it used to also come in a 121. Oh, yep, right here. The existing 116 and 121. Now they're just shaving it down to more versatile weight. Great choice for a daily driver or 50/50. So I tried the 121 and it did not feel unmanageable for how wide it was. And I was skiing it on a day that wasn't super in its wheelhouse, I guess you could say, right? There wasn't a ton of powder, things to really go and jump off of, or any soft conditions, but it was still very predictable, very maneuverable and manageable. So having that ski in that style in a 108 is awesome. I think that's so cool because you're still getting lots of surf, lots of pop, lots of play, but you're able to make it more of a resort or a 50/50 ski. So really cool option there. Okay, as we go down, this is the other ski. I'm super excited about this antimatter series. So this is replacing the Declivity ski, and I was able to demo Declivity, I think it was 2 years ago, and I didn't want to demo it, but I went out to the tent and the guy was like, this is all I've got right now, but like stuff is coming. And I was like, okay, like I'll take it out. And it kind of blew my mind. It was super stable. I got it up to very high speed very quickly and felt very comfortable on it, which is great. And the tail of that ski is probably what I would highlight the most because it was able to smear my turns, but also lock in when I wanted it to. So that was a really awesome ski. Now that ski, if I'm understanding correctly, is going away and is being replaced by this antimatter ski. Now, this antimatter ski has already debuted at the Freeride World Tour, which is really cool, right? Because it's coming in a 114, 108, 100, 98. So it's got a wide variety of widths. However, this ski, right, Braden or Moise, those White Walkers are super clean. Sorry, my chat's over here, but I'm over here, so I gotta remember to look back. So the antimatter ski, though, is really unique because we've had people attempt this in a ski before, but I feel like this one has really excelled in it. And what that is They are blending like a carver or traditional style ski that they will go fast and feel stable with the shape of a all mountain or a free ride ski, right? Which is really cool because you're getting the best of both worlds. Usually you have to sacrifice something as you get on like a specifically a groomer ski or a free ride or a powder ski. This ski has come and blended those with its unique shape. It's a directional, but it's a twin tip, and it comes in a variety of widths, as I already talked about. But if I were to buy a ski this season, it would probably be the Antimatter 100, right? I feel like that ski could do anything that I would want it to do in the resort. Like, it would be able to carve hard, it would be able to take me in the park, do jumps, and feel really stable and smooth. But also, if there was, a couple of inches of soft powder, it would allow me to still have a good time in that. This ski looks amazing this year. So down here, we'll give you some blow-ups of these White Walkers. So 121, 116, and now we've got that new 108, which is so sick. And that white is so clean. And then here's their top shoots from the top, and boom. Super excited. And then here's these Antimatters, which also just look so good. So these are like the pro model, and everything is based off of that as it moves down. So we'll keep going. There's a lot of these things as every year comes. Mostly the only thing that's changing is going to be the graphic. So I'll comment on the graphics because that's fun too, right? Make sure that we get a cool idea of what's new. But I feel like Armada did a good job this year. ARWs look clean. That's the women's ski. These are the ARVs, which I love that they did this whole graphic, how it like connects one to the other. I think that's so awesome. They got their boots, right? We got that 3-buckle power strap. I'd love to try some of their boots. They look great. Also, let me know if you can hear my dog snoring in the background because she's chilling. All right. Atomic. So I love Atomic. I think they make really cool stuff. And like I've demoed a lot of their stuff, and I own a pair of Bent 120s. But this Decode ski is incredible. So let's talk about it. Let's see if I can find a better picture. Here we go. So the Decode 91 waist. It has a full wood core, but it has ABS also in the core of the ski. Now, for those of you who don't know what ABS is, that actually is the hard plastic that goes on the side of the ski, on the sidewall. So they put that in it to make it really poppy and jumpy and playful. And I was actually able to try the ski in Park City, and it did everything that I wanted it to. So my brother and I got on a pair of these, and we gave ourselves like a little bit of a review. So if you want to check that out, you can go on Instagram or YouTube and see our chair chat about it. But I'll give you the highlights here. So lots of camber, which made takeoffs and landings really smooth. There were multiple times where I landed kind of wonky or off balance, but the ski caught me and was very forgiving. And I never found the speed cap on this ski. Now, once I got on this ski, it was pretty slushy and it was later in the day, so I couldn't quite open them up as much as I wanted to, but I was still cooking at like at least 50 miles an hour with no issue. So that was really awesome that they just held on, gave me all my energy back, and were just super balanced. They're also, their recommended mount point is center mount. Now that's not very common. It's more common in park skis, which this is touted as a park ski. but it made it feel like once I was in the air, I just wanted to stay in the air, and it was just very balanced, which was really cool, really fun. So if you have an opportunity to try some of these, do it. Strongly recommend. I'm sure, or I saw lots of people on the Olympic team are riding these, which is awesome to see. So we'll move back up, but that's my Decode. So it does have like the Bent Chetler DNA in it, but because of that ABS interior, it just makes it, honestly, it makes it more stable than like the 100 feels, which is really cool. All right, so the Nexus boot, you can see it says easy entry boots. Have been having a moment over the last few years, and Atomic wanted to enact. Okay, great. They're saying in a lot of fancy ways that this is a rear entry boot. Now, rear entry boots were really popular 20 years ago, maybe longer, because they're easy to get into. They're easy to get into, but because instead of the tongue going forward, the back goes forward, or it goes back, so you can get your foot in. Now, it's really great for like the comfort rider, because it's harder to get the exact pressure that you want when the thing that's moving is the back of the boot, not the front of the boot, right? Some people really love them. Some people say they'll never put on a rear entry boot. So I'm interested to see, this rear entry boot with a BOA system come into play, see how that works. Okay, we'll keep going. Yeah, here's how the rear entry boot works, right? So he's pulling this back, and that's how he's stepping in. Super cool, I guess, if you like rear entry. Here's just some more colors of the Nexus boot, and probably more stiffnesses. Remedy boot, these are the same, just different colors. Now the Bent series, I was talking to the rep when I was at Park City trying the Decodes, and I missed that 2 years ago they did a slight update to a couple of the Bent series, and they made the Horizon Tech a little bit longer in the ski, which I think is awesome, and it looks really clean. However, I don't love the graphics this year. Don't. And this ski is this ski of mine, if you can see me in the corner. So the eye is kind of weird. I don't know. It's just not my favorite. This one, the 100, is sweet looking, and same with the 90. But the eyes kind of weird me out. But I know the ski's awesome. So if that's your style, then you'll love that ski. All right, we'll keep going. Black Crows. I do have some Black Crow stuff. I have some, I have another website pulled up here. If we want to get into Black Crows. Black Crows, I don't know like a ton about. People rant and rave about them. And I know that a lot of ski patrollers will get on them because they have a pretty good deal for ski patrol guys. So we'll see what they come out to be. But a lot of people love them. Blizzard skis are usually they're a very high performing ski that is usually on the stiffer side. Lots of people love them. And I think these new canvas skis look awesome. They come in a 100, a 108, and a 118. They look really clean. Looks like they are going to be touted as like a, lightweight, energetic ski, low swing weight. So this ski would definitely be on my radar. If there was a demo going on, I think they would be really fun to try. Blizzard makes just a heck of a ski, and here we have, right, like the 118's got to be this one, and then the 108 and the 100 look awesome. I think they did a great job. I'm a little surprised the Dalbella ski boots aren't here yet, and they're not even on this other website I've got pulled up either, which is kind of sad. But I'm sure that they haven't changed a ton. Probably just colors. But they usually do a pretty good job with their colors, which is great. Yeah, nothing so far. So we'll keep going. Dynastar. Now the Dynastar skis are something that I used to be like, oh, those are just for old men. And then I got on a pair of Dynastar Menaces, and they like changed my whole outlook. They are just a fun ski, well designed, well made. So this year we're just getting new graphics. But if you get on a Dynastar M3, I don't know if they make the Menace anymore, but those are skis that are awesome. Okay, down to Elon. Once again, Elon Ripsticks are just changing their top sheet, which is cool. They've had the black edition for a while now. I think the black edition looks really clean, and I think that they come with carbon fiber on the inside to make the ski just a little stiffer. But other than that, like, we got the Elon Ripsticks here, which are, you know, tried and true with that Amphibio design. I feel like you either love them or you hate them. There's no one in the middle when it comes to Elon Ripsticks. So, okay. Faction. I do have Faction skis up here. Let's see if I can snag them. This website just isn't that. It's like really in your face. So that's why I'm navigating on Evo. But I'll show you guys these Faction skis, because Faction usually does a pretty good job at making cool stuff. Sometimes they're a little loud for me, but boom. So these are the new Faction skis. The Dancer is like their popular all-mountain ski, right? The Dancer series, here it is. I've heard good things about them. I've never been on a pair. I feel like people who ride Faction skis are riding really aggressive, which is great, right? And it's just because they're good skiers, because they make good skis. So they have a really clean lineup this year. Doesn't look like anything new, but graphics, but yeah. And then these are the Prodigies. Okay, throw that back up there and keep going. Head skis, now they're not here yet. I'm not a huge fan of head skis. Headcore 99s kind of did me dirty one time when I took them out. I just didn't love how stiff they were. The new ones don't seem as stiff. But still, just underwhelmed. Okay. Icelandic skis. So, when there's like no article, right, type deal, or blurb, that means the only thing that's changing is the top sheet. These Tempest skis look really clean. So these are made in the Never Summer factory, which is in Denver. And I was able to demo a pair of Nomad 105s, which I think is now just the Nomad 100, and then they go to like a 110. I don't think they make the 105 anymore. But once again, very surprised with how awesome the ski felt when I was on the Nomad. Let's see what else. The Torrent. Like, these white ones look so sweet. I love that tree. Like, I love how clean their designs look. Almost every year they blow it out of the park, I feel. Moving down, here's their Nomad skis, right? So let's see if I can get it. Yeah, so here's the 100. And then what's this? Oh, well, it won't blow up anymore. So this is a 112. This has got to be 106, 105. Yeah, but great skis. And you can also tell Icelandic skis because they kind of have that pattern to them. Same with the Never Summer skis. And Harvest skis are also out of the Never Summer factory. And I did an internship for them. They're pretty cool, but they haven't really changed. I left Steamboat like 5 years ago. You know, there's only a couple of you here, so we're gonna take a detour and see what my good friend Eric's up to. Yeah, this is the same skis. Nothing's changed. Oh, you can't even, there's nothing even here. Styles below. Okay, Pow Cow, that's the same, homegrown. Yeah, like, and he is one of the only guys that still does fish scales on the base of the ski, which is cool. It's very Eric Baker style because he loves to do backcountry, and this makes it so that you don't have to take your skins on and off if you're doing like a lower terrain. Pow Cow is an elite name for a ski, right? He used to have a park ski too, but yeah, they're a cool ski. They 122, so they're huge, right? And he's only got the length in the 180. Yeah, he used to have more back in the day. So I know that he posted and did some orders for like custom stuff. So that's where these skis are from. That's who helped me make these. Cool guy. Yeah, really cool guy. I would be interested to see him, add to this lineup. Maybe up, even if it was just graphics, I'd be curious to see what he could do. Okay, so we'll keep going. The maidens, the Icelandic maidens. Now these are the women's skis. I think this is pretty cool. K2. So the Mindbenders, they have 4-way widths, lightweight. So they have like the carbon model, which that's what that C is for, and then the TI model. Usually the carbon model is like the women's, but I'm pretty sure they're all unisex now. So we have the 88, the 96, 101, and a 111. I feel like those are great waist widths. I used to sell a ton of Mindbender 88s just because they're really consistent and light and easy for anyone to get on. Now, back when I was in the shop, though, I saw more K2s come back with big gashes in them or delams or other issues than any other brand. Now, that's not to say that they haven't improved that, and I'm sure they have, because I can already tell by the sidewall here that its connection is different than when I was working in the shop. So I would be interested to try these. I've only heard great things. Just a little weary to spend, $500 to $800 on a pair. Now their boots, on the other hand, is a completely different story. They make just super cool boots. I'm not a huge fan of the double boa system. I need to try it, but maybe I'm just old school and I like kind of your traditional buckle on the top piece. A lot of people are going towards this, double boa system. I like the bow on the bottom because I feel like it wouldn't be as tight, but to that same degree, I don't know if I'd love a bow on the top because it wouldn't be as tight. Love the color scheme though. They did a great job. Moving down, we have their Reckoner, which has been around for a long time. Oh, look at that. So we have a women's Mindbender lineup. So this is different than their traditional. Before, I'm pretty sure there was, it was all just like a unisex line, but the Reckoner's been around for a long time. Super flexy in the tips and tails, but pretty stable underfoot. This is their park ski. A lot of people love it and rave about it. And then here's more of their boots. Recon, the Anthem. Now so full tilt boots were owned by K2, and then K2 like reabsorbed them. So full tilt's there's no longer full tilt boots. They're just called K2, but they kept the mold. However, I don't see any here, which is their 3-piece set. These are all just their simple 2-piece. All right, down to Lang. Now Lang's got some vibrant boots, and fun fact, Bob Lang is from Iowa. Now, that's kind of cool, right? An Iowan made a full plastic. He was the first one to make a full plastic ski boot, which is really cool. See, so this boa system is what's really popular right now. I really prefer it on the bottom like this, and then buckles on top just so we can get more dialed. But everyone's got their own preferences, and I haven't tried either. So take that with a grain of salt. But this is also their hybrid boot. You can tell here they have their pins and then their release back here. So cool boots. Now these Line skis, so Line, I used to really like Line, and then I tried some, and then I tried some more, and I was just like, I don't know if I can get on with these. They're just not for me. They're really great. Like if I was a high school kid, I would love Line skis, but because I tried them as an adult who weighed more and was used to a stiffer, heavier ski, when I got on these, I just felt like I was capping them out every turn I took. This ski, however, the new Poison, whatever. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. 110 underfoot, but they put metal in the ski, which is really cool. It will make it so you can't find those limits of the ski as quickly. Sakana skis, those have been around for a while, but looks like they've got an update. Durability and strength, they're pretty lightweight, super playful. Looks like they gave it a thick cut sidewall bioresin. So seems to be fairly similar to how it was. They probably just changed a couple things, a couple minor things. Okay, so we got the Tom Walsh. These are like, Line is very park ski, so a lot of their skis are park oriented. The Pandora collection, though, it used to be just a women's ski, but they've made the Pandora unisex and made it a little more approachable for everybody. And no one has ever said anything bad about some Pandora skis. When I was in Park City, I saw a girl do a front flip on some Pandora skis. Now, front flip in skis, let that just sink in. It was wild. It was really cool to see. I've heard the Optic collection's really good. It has some metal to it, which helps. Now, the Line Bacon, last year's graphic of the Line Bacon was the worst ski graphic I've ever seen. And I can say that now because they're over, right? I'll just show you. Line Sir Francis Bacon. Look, it's just raw bacon. That's it. This is the worst graphic ever. Ugh, I hate it. Sorry. If you love it, I'm super happy for you. I think it's one of the ugliest skis ever. If you're still in the chat, let me know what you think. And then so this one is the Line Bacon 122, which is relatively new, right? I think the 122 came out only 2 years ago. And their 108, which is like their standard one, it's just cooked bacon. Come on, guys. Come on. Because Sir Francis Bacon, he was an explorer, but they really leaned into the bacon, probably because that's what everyone thinks they are. All right, down to look. So look pivot hasn't changed a whole lot in the past couple of years, except the colors. So they have some cool colors. I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago, they added this rubber here. It actually might have been last year, so that you can stomp out of your pivots. My brother-in-law was actually telling me that some people were having issues with this rubber piece because the way that it connects, it'll just like break off easy. I'm offended on behalf of Bacon. Those are bad. Thank you. They're terrible. But pivots are great. I have a pair of pivots on my Bent Shettlers, and I would have put some on my Devastators, but I basically got the Tyroleas for free, so had to go with that. But the pivots are unique because they will eject you from the heel and the toe. They tout that it's a cleaner release for safety. But they're really a great binding. I've loved mine. They have a small footprint, so they're not taking up your whole ski and allowing the ski to flex and move the way it wants. Marker. Now, marker bindings, I have them up here. I believe I do. We don't have any changes, just colors. But that's always fun to see, so let's take a look. There we go. So here's the markers. These look like they're the Squires here. And then as you get down, this is their demo binding. They always have a classic black and a classic white. Oh, these are Squires. What are these? Oh yeah. Yeah, I was right. These are all Squires. Squire 11. So the Squire 11 is unique. The heel piece isn't as aggressive as the Griffins, which, like, Marker's slogan is, stomp in hard and like come out easy, right? Because you like the heel piece is just really aggressive. The Squire isn't quite as aggressive though. Here's the Griffin. I wonder, that looks solid. So they used to have the toe piece, and it might still be like this on the Squire. You would mount this bottom piece, and then you would slide it in, and then mount the other piece, which was unique, but it looks like it's all solid now. And here's that heel piece, just really aggressive. You really got to stomp in, but people love them. And they are a little heavier, but weight can be your friend, right? I don't think there's vocals on the other one, so we'll visit vocals while we're here. So vocal is interesting because their Revolt series has just like blown up. They have like their, I call them like the lawyer skis. So the Blaze is like their 50-50 backcountry resort. And then here it is, these skis here, the Mantra, and they used to be called the Kendo. But these are like the lawyer skis, right? You'll see millions of these on the resort every year just because they're consistent. They look like their look is simplistic and clean, and people like them and they ski well. Anyways, back to the Revolt series. Every year these skis get louder and louder and louder graphically, right? The Revolt 104, my buddy Austin's got a pair of those. He absolutely loves them. And then as you get lower into the waist widths, you'll see that more people, or they get to become more of a park ski the lower you get. And I'm pretty sure they even become a cap construction, or at least they used to. But then you get some into like the 112. They used to have a 121, if I'm not mistaken. And that was like their big mountain, big deal ski. So really cool. Okay. Nordica Enforcers. Now, Nordica is an awesome ski brand, and there's been multiple days in the last couple of years that I'm like, man, do I need a pair of Nordicas? Because they are heavy, stable, and they just like carve like no other. And the reason that is just because they've got a lot of weight and metal in them. Now, the reason I say that is because I feel like I'm getting more and more groomer days and less powder days. And my groomer days sometimes are really crummy. So having a Nordica Enforcer just be able to eat everything would be awesome. So the interesting thing, they came out with the Unleashed 4 years ago, I think. Now this year they have an all new Unleashed available in both metal and non-metal, the CA version. Now, people are saying online that the non-metal is amazing, right? Because what it's doing is it's taking like this, the Nordica feel, which is like that metal, stiff, hard, and it's softening it up so that you can have a little more play to the ski, but you're still getting like a lot of strength and stability in that ski. And people are saying that it is amazing. I'd love to try a pair. I think they'd be so cool. And that's what these guys are. So looks like it comes in both metal and non-metal. Pro Machines, looks like they've had some updates to the shell, new liners, and a fresh look. So 3D custom cork fit liners. So cork liners are unique because they actually last like 500 days. They last way longer than like your traditional liners, but usually that makes them more expensive, right? Because you have to get cork. So as we move down, looks like these are the Unleashed, the CA, as well as the just the normal Unleashed. And then here you can see that cork liner, right? So pretty cool. Okay, down here, these are the Nordica Enforcers. I don't see the Freeze. Did they discontinue the Free? And it's just the Unleashed now. And then the Santa Ana is just the women's version. I think the Santa Ana only has one sheet of metal, where the Enforcers have two. We used to make a joke when I was at the shop that what Nordica did for their graphics each year is they took a picture of one mountain range, and what they would do is make the graphics out of that mountain range. Each one would be like lined up. And then the next year, they just slid the picture over, and so there was the same mountain range, but a different side of it. Because I feel like their graphics are always very similar, just a mountain, but they're cool. Rosignol skis, I have those up here. Now Rosignol skis, they have a lot of like your front side and your kind of like your rental skis, but they also have like some senders, which are pretty cool. I've got some buddies with the sole. What is this? Huh, interesting. So Rosignol used to be like the top dog, and they still are to a degree. But back when they had like the Soul 7s, those were selling like crazy. And I was at the trade show when they said, we're not making the Soul 7 anymore. And everyone was like, what do you mean? How can you not make the most popular ski in the world anymore? And they were like, we're just not going to. So it looks like the only thing they're doing is changing graphics. I must be out of the loop on this Soul 102 and 92, but they had a Black Ops series that I've got some buddies that ride that they really like. So sweet. Okay, Solomon. So the QST-X, I saw someone on Instagram flexing this ski, and it is super flexy. So here's the X, this is the blank, and then this has got to be like the 106, and then like the 98. So really cool skis. I tried to pair the blanks expecting it to kind of blow my mind. It didn't blow my mind. It wasn't bad by any means. It was really good. It just wasn't anything special. I just felt like it was consistent and it was predictable, but didn't make me say like, wow, this ski is awesome, or like, wow, I need a pair of these. It was just like, this is a good ski. This is middle of the road, you know, it's fine. So their boots are always really good. Austin has a pair and he loves them. I feel like this boa right here is massive. That's huge. But then they have clips on the bottom. I don't get the clips on the bottom because for me, I feel like my clips on the bottom come undone every time I step in any kind of deep snow. And I prefer clips on the top because then they have like the adjustments where you can spin them. Talked about that enough though. Okay, season skis. Now those will probably be very similar to last year. Last year they were red, I believe. A couple years ago they were black, but they've just been solid colors for their graphics. So, okay, Technica boots. I have a pair of Technica boots and I like them. This might be only the second year though that they've actually been comfortable. I have the Mach 1s, but the performance-wise, no complaints. A little bit on the uncomfortable side, but they are really easy to work with. You see this like pocketed, there's kind of like this pattern here. So what that is they bevel it, or they bubble it, that's the word. They bubble it like that so that there's actually more material there, because that is the spot that most people need work, and so the plastic there gets really thin first. So they do that so that the plastic can stay thick even as you work on it, which is really unique. All right, Tyrolia bindings. Now I'm a little bummed that they don't have any on here yet. Let's see if we can find some. Nope, nothing yet. But they came out with a binding that is trying to compete with the pivots, which I think is really interesting. Let me see if I can find some here. But and I talked a little bit about them before, but what they're doing is they made it so that the heel piece pivots out. Not quite the same way that a pivot does, but gives you a little bit of a cleaner exit. Now, the thing that was unique though is they also made a hybrid binding that was pretty interesting. like, it's a pretty good idea. It's a little goofy, but it's a good idea. Here, I think I just found it. Let's see. Nope, here it is. Okay, sorry. So I got my TV up here, and then my computer down here. So here we go. So this is their attack binding, but it's their hybrid one, right? You can see hybrid. So you might look at it and say, that looks like a strictly alpine binding. And you're right, to a degree. But you have this extra footprint here, right? It's a lot extra big there. And it looks like a demo binding. And the reason that is because you can slide off the toe piece and then slide on your tech toe, allowing you to, you know, have the ability to hike up without all the extra mechanics of a shift. So it's really a simple, cool idea. The only thing I'm worried about is people are dumb, and so they might not check their forward pressure very well. But it's a solid idea. I don't know exactly how they got around that. I'm sure that there's some kind of lock system so that it always goes back to the same spot. But one thing I don't love, here you can see, this is their attack 11. I guess this is the 11. And I'd be curious to see if this comes in a 14. But usually when you go up in numbers, that's when you go up in kind of some tech as well, right? So the heel piece on this is a 2-piece, and the heel piece on the 14 is a 3-piece, making it really easy to step into. So it just makes me curious why they have like a hybrid binding with a 2-piece toe, right? When they have the technology of the 3-piece, just because I'm sure it's cost, right? I'm sure that's why, but it's just unique that they didn't just put the heel piece of the 13 on it just to make it more, have more to it, more tech, more ability to it, easier step in and out of. Vocal skis aren't on here, but we already talked those, and that's the end. So thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, this is my favorite episode of the year, and the reason being is because we just get to look at all the cool stuff, right? We get to check and see what's new, see what graphics are cool, see what graphics are lame. And there's still like some companies like Chase Skis and Forefront, and Wonder Alpine is no longer a thing, which is too bad. But some of these other smaller brands and companies, they don't say what they've changed until like August, right? So we can do another episode like this at the beginning of the year, if that's what you guys are interested in. But make sure that you like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Instagram is where we've been getting like a ton of people, which is really cool. So check us out and join the community so that we can, enjoy our days on the mountain and have a blast. And thank you so much for joining me this evening. Hope you have a wonderful one, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.